Okay, here's how this works. Every top league in Rainbow Six, every roster change in as little time as possible. Timestamps for each region are in the description. North America, 9 teams up from 8 last season, single round robin with each team getting a bye week. On site in Las Vegas, Nevada. TSM and Beast Coast didn't make any changes. Beast Coast gets called up from Challenger League and takes Tempo Storm's spot. Space Station minus Canadian plus Luke. Technically. Canadian's sudden retirement came after the transfer window had closed, so they'll be playing with their analyst Luke in the meanwhile. Good player in his own right, but we'll see how he stacks up. Also picked up Drew Spark as an analyst for Stage 1 and the Invitational. Dark Zero minus Hot and Cold plus NJR. Dropped a support player for a fragger who should turn him and Hyper into a pretty nutty duo. If you see his name as Nick, it's the same guy. Don't worry about it. Oxygen minus Slashhug minus Biologic plus Yaga plus Kino. 2 veterans dropped for 2 up-and-comers from Challenger League. Remember Yaga beat Evil Geniuses on land back in 2018 once? Don't worry, he's goated. Disrupt minus NJR minus Reed plus Iconic plus Mark, filling the fragger hole left by NJR with Iconic and tied it all together with a journeyman who's literally a shark. They won the NSG DZ tournament last week, so clearly something's beginning to work with this lineup. Sonics minus Iconic minus Staaben minus Gomfy minus Easily plus Yeti plus Grixer plus Kansan plus Rexen. SQ yeeted everyone but Super off that team and filled it with the American core of the old EU United team. Questionable at best, but at least the boys all found a new home for next stage. Mirage minus Flynn minus Silent minus Zilchi plus Nyx plus Hot and Cold plus Dream plus Benji Mula. Team goes into full rebuild mode and gets the whole Thomas/Stevens clan. DNA, Guerrera, and Flynn all signed to team staff. Bits from the US and Canadian divisions and Challenger League all in one team sounds pretty cracked. Hot and Cold will be playing for Quartz because his visa situation isn't totally sorted yet. Newcomer Xset picks up the rent-free roster, plus Butters plus Creators. Winners from Challenger League needed 2 pickups and reunites an old Tempo Storm duo in the process. Solid lineup, but have no idea what they'll look like yet. Europe, 10 teams, single round robin best of ones. League is played online. BDS and Team Empire didn't make any changes. G2 minus Pengu plus Kayak. Pengu's retirement left a void, and they filled it with a player who's on the exact same roles that he used to be. Big shoes to fill, but hopefully it works out. They also technically lost Sua as an analyst, but that was known from months ago. Na'Vi minus Kendrew minus Joe plus Secretly plus Nathan. Team Synergy wasn't there for a couple of months, so they had to make some hard choices. Nathan played in Yukon and Prem for several seasons. He totally deserves that spot. But now Doki and Saves are the only OG members of this team left. I'm not crying, you're crying. Rogue minus Karzeka plus Cryan. Good pickup, but the bigger news is probably Meepy getting signed as a coach. Reuniting him and Leon on the same team and Big Brain with a larger support staff, this might help elevate them now back to a top contender. Vitality minus Goga minus Fabian minus Hungary plus P4 plus Shinka plus Cactus. The super team idea didn't work out at all last year, so Vitality is going back to an all-French team. 2 ex-Tempra players find new homes, which is good, but I don't know how they're going to fare. And no, Fabian and Goga aren't dropped, just benched. Team Secret minus Shate minus Packbull plus Sleben plus Gomfy. Secret is still an international team and not an all-German one anymore, and now the EU export duo to the Sonics is sticking together and balling with a new team back home. Hope they can keep going strong after having to switch IGLs again, though. Virtus Pro minus Shockwave plus Karzeka. Shockwave's taking an extended break from the game, so Karzeka is going back to a Russian roster after his time on Rogue. Again, pretty big shoes to fill because Shockwave was so influential, but Karzeka's still not a bad player, so maybe going back to an all-Russian team is what he needs. Kavana minus Kayak plus Kendrew. Getting called up to G2 is a big deal, but Kayak qualified for EUL with this roster, so it makes sense. Kenny's coming into another British team and can bring a lot of Tier 1 experience to a roster that is all rookies otherwise. Newcomer, Trainhard. Tempra decided to drop their whole French team, so UB revoked their license, and Trainhard's coming in to pick up the pieces and form a new team. Surprise, it's all French. Their original lineup had Redgroove, Stiggy, and Erkari all on it, but Spark, Durza, and Kioxis have now all been added in. Penta, Tempra, and Vitality players all on the same team? It looks pretty damn juicy to me. Brazil, 10 teams, single round robin best of ones. League is played online. This shit gets haywire really fast, so pay attention. Ninjas in Pajamas and Team Liquid don't make any changes. FaZe Clan minus Ion minus Yuna minus Live minus KDS plus Bullet plus Cameraman plus Cyber plus Souls. Cameraman comes back to FaZe and brings most of the MIBR team with him in a massive signing. Astro remains the only OG member of FaZe Clan because he's never left since the org picked them up. Black Dragons minus PZD minus Lagonis minus Hornital plus Ion plus Yuna plus Live. FaZe Clan didn't want him, so BD will take him instead. Good lineup, but it will be weird not seeing Yuna in FaZe Clan colors anymore. MIBR minus their entire freaking team plus Team 1's. entire freaking team. Almost everyone got signed to FaZe, so MIBR needed a new squad, and they snagged T1s. Pretty easy deal. Team 1 minus their entire freaking team, plus Lemo, plus KDS, plus Lagonis, plus Levy, plus Neskin. Kind of a hodgepodge of the old parts of FaZe, Black Dragons, INTZ, and Singularity, but there's a lot of good players with tons of experience still left to take, and Team 1 seem like they're picking up the scraps. Santos minus their whole freaking team, plus Destiny, plus Friazo, plus Hunter, plus Cons, plus STK. Out with the old, in with the new. Pretty straightforward. The only problem is the team that Santos dropped to pick up this one does not retain their spot in BR6. The org does. Kind of shitty, but welcome to 2021. Furia minus Fred, minus Navis, minus Bursa, plus Fincy, plus Rare. Not sure who these players are, but this team is still going to be competing at the Invitational, so keep your eyes on them if you can. W7M minus Friazel, plus Kurtz. Somehow, next to the rest of Brazil, making only one roster move looks like the sanest thing they could have done. And INTZ have only let Alemo go to Team 1 and haven't yet announced their new 5th. They've got like 4 days left until the season starts to do it, so they'd better step it up. As for the rest of LATAM, I genuinely don't follow Mexico or South America, but Estral is now totally blacklisted as an organization for match throwing allegations. Navis and M-King found a new home on Atheros Esports, which makes them the first Brazilian players to play in Mexico, and MET have now added a Canadian and another American player to their team. I don't get it, but I guess region restrictions know no bounds these days. Asia Pacific, oh fuck, I'll just do the highlights. APAC North is all of the Japanese and Korean teams as well as Fnatic. APAC South is the remaining teams from Southeast Asia that were in APAC North for last season, as well as the top 4 placing Australian teams. Both sub-regions are still best of 1 round robins like every other league. Damwon and Team 1 are both orgs in the scene now. Rosters might look foreign to anyone who doesn't watch Korean Siege, but having them is a massive boost to the region. Love that we've got them both in the scene now. Teams like Giants, Cloud9, Wildcard, and Okami haven't made any lineup changes at all. Fnatic minus Aces plus Alfama, the 5th member of the ex-EU United team, jumped from EU to NA and now finally to APAC in a pretty surprise move. He's slated to be playing with the starting lineup at the beginning of Stage 1, but who he'll be subbing in for at this point is unknown. I know I'm glossing over a lot of stuff in APAC, but this video is already too long. All right, we're done. That's too much. I'm going back to sleep.